Welcome back for part 4 of our series on ways to bring length to the spine, particularly for those of us with scoliosis and or spinal fusion. In this video, I'm going to show you down dog, which is a really common yoga pose. If you have a yoga practice, you may be familiar with it. But there's a couple things that I want you to keep in mind as we do it. So I'll show you the general shape, and then I'll highlight a couple things that I think make it feel even more spacious, expansive, and lengthening. So if you have a yoga mat, start on your yoga mat. It's nice to have a sticky surface so that your hands stay put once you come up into the pose. I'm starting out in a tabletop, but then I'm going to walk my feet back just a little bit further, keep my knees bent, push the floor away with my hands as I lift my hips up. And sometimes you'll hear down dog cued as an upside down V, which I actually don't love cueing it that way because that sometimes can imply that the legs should be straight. The legs do not need to be straight. So this can be a down dog. This could be a down dog. This could be a down dog. Even this could be a down dog. All of those variations, my priority is spinal length. That is, to me, the main intention of this pose, at least physically, is bringing length to the spine. So in the down dog, now that you know that the main point of it is to bring length to the spine, there's some things to think about that can make that a little bit easier to feel. So the first thing is to bend the knees and to have the feet a little wide, wider than hips distance apart, especially if you're in down dog and all you're feeling is your hamstrings. So if you come in down dog and you're like, oh my God, my hamstrings, they're so tight. Bend the knees, take the feet wide, let the hips lift, and don't worry about the legs being straight or not. Truly, they can be super, super bent. So that's one thing, is to bend the knees and take the feet wide. I guess that's two things. Another thing to think about is the placement of your hands and the engagement of your hands. So for me, when I come into a down dog, my hands are wider than my shoulders. They're not shoulder width, and they're definitely not less than shoulder width. They are right around here, wider than my shoulders. And I turn my hands a little bit outward so that my pointer finger is facing forward. Everybody's dimensions are a little bit different, but I find that for most people, hands turned slightly out with pointer fingers more forward is more comfortable for the shoulders and more lengthening ultimately for the spine than it is to have the middle fingers facing forward. So a little external rotation, a little turning out, as well as the hands being a little wider than the shoulders. And then I mentioned engagement of the hands. So placement is one thing, engagement is another. When I come up into a down dog, I want to first kind of press more actively through the inner border of the hands, so my thumb, index finger, and the webbing between them. That'll give me some power initially. Then, once I'm up there, I want to actually bring a little bit of the opposite. So after I push the floor away, notice how my shoulders kind of turn inward here. I want to then press more out into my pinky edges. So it goes like this, pressing the floor away, pressing down through outer edges of the hands. I'll show you it in action. So here I come, pushing more through the inner border of my hands. And now watch my armpit, my right armpit. I'm going to press through my outer hand. Here I go. And then I'm going to re-engage. I'm going to push with both inner and outer border. So I'm going to do that again. So this is me just pressing with the inner border of my hand. And again, I think it's easiest to see if you watch my shoulders, or right shoulder is the shoulder you can probably see. And now I'm going to press through my through outer hands. So watch my right shoulder. Oh, it already feels so much longer and more stable in my shoulders. So that will help to stabilize the shoulders in this arm overhead position. And in doing so, position the shoulders so that then the spine can be the primary thing that's lengthening, or so you can feel that spinal length more prominently. So that is down dog for you, and a little tutorial on some things to think about when you're in down dog. And hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next time.